Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We continue with cricket. West Indies beat Sri Lanka by 5 wickets in the third and final one-day international at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua to complete a series sweep. After being asked to bat first, Sri Lanka posted 274 for 6 from their 50 overs, with Hasaranga de Silva top scoring with an unbeaten 80 against Akil Hussain 3 for 33. In reply, West Indies posted 276 for 5 of 48.3 overs. Man of the match Darren Bravo top scored with 103, his 4th ODI ton and first since 2016. Man of the series Shai Hope made 64, his 6th consecutive ODI 50, while captain Kieron Pollard was left unbeaten on 53. Final scores: Sri Lanka 274 for 6, West Indies 276 for 5. The 3-0 defeat leaves Sri Lanka rooted to the bottom of the World Cup Super League standings. The Windies earned 30 points from the series to climb to 5th on the table. The World Cup Super League counts towards qualification for the next 50-over World Cup. Speaking at the post-match press conference, Captain Pollard said the result was a confidence booster ahead of the upcoming visits of Australia, South Africa and Pakistan. Pollard says, "We have to use our home advantage. We are accustomed to playing in the Caribbean, and once we come and prepare as a team and we do what is necessary, the sky is the limit." So, of course, George and Lance, we spoke about, how, heartwarming it was to see, West Indies. For me, it's back to winning ways. And I have to say, they didn't really depend on one player. We had all the different players stepping in.
Look, last week I made some comments about the team. I'm clear that I'm not attempting to pour cold water on their achievements. It's just to put it in context.
Yeah.
What I can say is that when you get weak opponents, you should trample them. You should look world class against weak opponents. And the indictment against the West Indies is that in the past, they've played weak teams and not looked authoritative in their performances, have not looked strong. So far in the 5 games against, the 6 games against the Sri Lankans, the West Indies have looked authoritative. They have looked world class. They have looked very, very good. The bowlers have looked very good. The batsmen have looked out of class against the Sri Lanka outfit, and that's the most you can wish for when you play opposition of this strength. I say that all to say that already Phil Simmons, who spoke about the audition for places at the T20 World Cup, he would have been pleased, or he will be pleased by what he has seen so far, because several men have held their hand up with performances to suggest that, yeah, coach, pick me, put me down as someone who is in your core squad, and that can only bode well for future performances because competition for places is fierce, and that's, as Lance said last week, that's something that we haven't been able to say about West Indies cricket for the longest while. So far, the audition exercise is going well.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, to build on what George just mentioned, batting and bowling have been together complementary of each other. I can't tell when the last time we saw in a 3-match one-day international series 3 different centre makers for the West Indies. We had Darren Bravo getting 100, we had Evan Lewis getting 100, and Shai Hope got his 100 as well. Now, I want to make the point that winning is so important. When you win, it is the essence of what sport is about, because there are things about the victory that you could, on close scrutiny, want to challenge or criticize. And I would suggest that if the West Indies had lost any of those matches, then you'd probably hear people talking about Darren Bravo and Shai Hope's strike rate, which is very impressive and maybe under scrutiny against, more potent opponents, it would show up a little bit more. But I quite prefer to see batsmen applying themselves in a measured way, albeit maybe slower sometimes than we want them to do, than getting themselves out.
Yeah.
You can't score runs in the pavilion.
Fight, yeah.
You cannot score runs in the pavilion. So there are areas of improvement that's needed, but the signs are there that the batsmen are applying themselves, because we saw from the T20 series that those Sri Lanka spinners can be tricky. So you didn't want the batsmen going there just playing, care recklessly against them. So for the most part, they were watchful. So slow in some spots, but they got hundreds. Hope As we said, Hope, Bravo, hundreds, Evan Lewis, 100 as well. And I don't think at the moment you could have asked for more from this West Indies team.
Definitely could not have asked for more. Well, joining us now to review the series is international cricket commentator Fazeer Mohammed. Fazeer, welcome.
Good to be on the show once again. Right, you all have done my job for me. You've done a very good analysis already.
Well, thanks for that. We'll take that.
You don't get to leave early though, Fazeer. You don't get to leave early, okay?
Yes, your supervisor said no.
No, not his supervisor, his friend.
So Faz, of course, so many positive signs coming out from the West Indies. Let's hear, what did you think about the all-round performance?
And I think overall, I think Lance encapsulated perfectly that there will always be issues that you would like to see improvements upon. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. Since Bangladesh, winning those 2 test matches, winning the T20 series now 2-1, winning the one-day series 3-0. The team, even with the change of personnel, even now with the impending change of captain at the test level, they're on a bit of a roll, but it's nothing that you get carried away with. And I think Phil Simmons will know that only too well because he's been there before. In his first iteration as West Indies coach, he was involved with the team that lifted the World T20 title, that played in a Tri-Nation series in the Caribbean with Australia and South Africa. South Africa were a very potent force then, and they beat South Africa to the final against Australia. So you've got a situation here where there's a good feeling. There's a buoyant feeling about a team that was able to chase down 274 and then 275 and then chase down 232 as viewed someone like a Kieron Pollard. He's been there, he's done that. Yes, he hasn't played to the level in one-day international cricket that we would like for the West Indies on a consistent basis. There would have been the pulling and tugging issues with the previous Cricket West Indies administration. But I think he's seen enough in the global game to not really be overawed by too much. And I think that's why he seems so much at ease in his role as captain, even when he was losing. Remember, a year ago, the West Indies lost to Sri Lanka 3-0 in the corresponding one-day series in Sri Lanka. But yet through it all, there's this equanimity about him, the way that he goes about handling things, speaking to the media and so on. It's almost as if he's saying, it's not the end of the world if we lose. It's not something to get carried away with if we win, because it's a process and we need to keep on working.
How much of a factor, Fazeer, do you believe the fact that the world is, has been for over a year now, where travel and everything is severely restricted and sport has been played in confined spaces, in bubbles, in cricket and so forth. And so the name players that we have in the cricket have been here. There's a fixity of purpose on West Indies cricket, West Indies business, rather than jetting from there where you played that franchise T20 or preparing to go there to play the franchise T20. That freshness that the players would have had as a result of not traveling and not being committed to other franchise league cricket round about this time would have given them a freshness that has been used to their advantage in this series.
It's true to a point, but let's remember, ahead of the regional Super 50, a whole heap of players, including many Trinis, went off to the Abu Dhabi T10 and only arrived just in time to fulfill their quarantine obligations and so on. So they're still involved in that. Some of them were playing BBL at the same time that the West Indies were in Bangladesh. So that is still there. But I think what happens with the West Indies team, from my little experience with them, they always look buoyant. Even when the West Indies lose in 2 days, they look buoyant. When they were routed for 47 at Sabina Park, a couple of senior players were fetting in the mound stand. So West Indies looking buoyant is a given, win, lose or draw. What you're seeing though is because you've got an environment where you've got a winning combination, a team that is winning, that you almost get the sense where initially the knee-jerk reaction would be, okay, we're going to mess this up now.
Yeah.
When you see a wicket or two falling. This time around, you get the sense, because of that level of confidence, there's a greater belief that they might win, that they might pull it off. And that makes a difference. Whether that can be sustained against the tougher teams, over a protracted period, we'll just have to wait and see. Definitely.
Well, Faz, we always welcome your insight here on the SportsMax Zone. We'll talk again soon.
And please tell my supervisor I'm on my best behavior.
I will. Of course, international cricket commentator Fazeer Mohammed. And as we go to the break, our WhatsApp question: were you impressed by the West Indies' performance against Sri Lanka in the ODI series? Let us know.